True or false? I like mechanics magazines.
Are you serious? False.
I have diarrhea once or more a month.
False, but thanks for asking.
I like the sound of a woman screaming. Orson?
How many times have you declared a defendant sane?
Forensic psychologist doesn't declare.
How many
it.
times have you determined the defendant had the mental capacity to be prosecuted?
34 times.
Is my client possessed by a demon?
Are you referring to demons metaphorically or clinically?
Ms. Bouchard, I work for the Catholic Church.
So you're a priest?
No, an assessor. My colleague Ben and I investigate unexplained phenomena.
I didn't know that was a job.
It is.
I don't believe in all that. Devils and possession.
The problem with my job is that possession looks a lot like insanity, and I need someone to help me distinguish between the two.
Orson, maybe what's wrong?
This is what? A haunting?
Well, the theory is that the demon takes over the house, and then it takes over the person.
I know you believe in this stuff. I don't. This is stupid. Again, there's no demonic possession?
No. My wife believes in that stuff.
Why do you want me doing this?
There are people out there who do bad things and encourage others for the pleasure of it.
Psychopaths.
Yes, this is where our beliefs overlap.
It's not real. It's just a dream.
Can a dream do this? Yes, trust me, you may need it.
I'm here to tell the truth.
You're in way over your head, Miss Bouchard.
What happened to nonviolence?
It's provisional.
Is that what Jesus said?
You're a bitch.
Oh boy, do you have that right. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. We're doing this. I want you, David. I want you more than anyone I've ever wanted. La 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 la.
Hello, Cheryl?
It's a short slide to hell, man.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel again. Thank you for joining me. So today we are going to do something incredibly different. I think I did it in my first few YouTube videos when I started my YouTube channel. We are going to look into the series, American TV series, drama, TV series, whatever you want to call it, of Evil, which I'll show you here. So before I get started, just to let you know, I'm not trying to enter a demonic cult, okay? This is purely an interest on a series that is sadly ending due to the writer's strike, I believe. It is sad because when I got into it I was like hooked, because not because it's about demons, okay, or demonic activity or paranormal stuff, which is cool, obviously. I like it because it's almost like the start of a bad joke. It's basically based around the centre characters of Father David Acosta, Christian Bouchard, and Ben Shakir, or Shakir, sorry if I said that wrong. Yeah, basically Kristen is a psychologist, so obviously her views on demonic activity, religion is very evidence-based, and it's basically she's not a believer, she's an atheist. She has 4 daughters, Lynn, Lila, Lexis and Laura Bouchard. They are the 4 daughters of Kristen. Yeah, then we have the priest, or training to be a priest, David Acosta. Yeah, say no more. He counsels people. He is led by the high priest of the Catholic Church, basically, to assess people if they're having paranormal activity going on, if they're having demonic possession, and so on. And we have Ben, obviously, who is the critic. He's a technical guy, and he basically finds faults in every single situation going. He's also an atheist who is brought up in the Islam background, and he just like debunks everything, basically. But what I find interesting is that this series is around 3 people from completely different backgrounds, and their reasoning or investigation into these cases that they get given is so interesting, because it's like a typical exploration kind of thing, with people who don't believe, people who do believe, people who can crack what happened and say, oh, it wasn't this, it was a door dropping on the wind. It is the ultimate team who can say, who get you to question yourself, basically, and say, is this a demonic activity, is this paranormal, or is this just plain situational stuff that can be explained? So basically, as with any TV series, it does have a plot. And the only way I can explain this, if you've not watched it, is that basically it starts off with Kristen being an expert witness to a crime committed by a man. I believe he kills somebody in the first series, because that's how it starts in the court. She wants to examine the alleged killer, because he claims that he's been possessed, or they think he's possessed, and that's the kind of basis outline for his defense.
Thanks for asking.
I like the sound of a woman screaming.
Basically. So she gets to examine him, and he starts speaking all this weird Latin and acting possessed and stuff, and she's like not really falling for it. She basically gets into the background of people, looks them up, does like a CRB check, basically, finds out their history, and basically says to people, this is what the situation is. They're just basically playing on it, or they have some kind of psychological condition, or they have some kind of mental issue. It explains why they're acting like this. So yeah, so she enters basically through this expert witness thing on how she evaluated the killer. So yeah, David, the priest, played by Mike Coulter. Sorry, Kristen is played by Katja Herbers. David Acosta, father, soon to be Father David, properly. He is also involved in this case because obviously it's demonic possession, so the Catholic Church has asked him, or requested him, to go and check out this killer and see if he's really demonically possessed, basically. And when he sees Kristen's evaluation and how she debunks stuff, he basically decides to hire her for the Catholic Church to help them assess cases of paranormal, demonic possession, or whatever in other people, which is further throughout the series. She does hesitate, but eventually she does decide to join. So it becomes a 3-team, yeah. So you get the priest, the psychologist, and the technical person, and that's where the cracky joke comes in, and that's where it just been like, okay, this is going to be something interesting. So yeah, we also have the lovely featurette of Christine Lahati, or Lati. She is formerly seen as a DA, District Attorney in Law and Order SVU. If you've not seen her, I'll show you this quick clip.
Excuse me?
The suspect asked for his lawyer, and you kept questioning him for 93 seconds. That's a violation of his right to counsel.
We'll leave you to your client, counselor.
No. I may be wearing couture, but I don't represent scumbags.
So who exactly do you represent?
The people. Sonia Paxton, your new ADA. How's it going?
And she plays her mother, Kristen's mother, Cheryl. And then we also have the character of Dr. Leyland Townsend, played by Michael Emerson, aka a supposed demon, who is the pinnacle of the demonic activity, basically.
You're in way over your head, Miss Bouchard. Why don't you leave this to the professionals?
Who are the professionals?
Your boy Toy Acosta, LaRue, the 60?
Who are the 60?
People who know who you are. Now. Hey, that session number 37 was a juicy one, wasn't it?
He's like a devil in disguise. Or, yeah, if you've seen the TV series, you'll know that in season 4, these demons start coming out of their costumes, basically. These human costumes, and then, you know, they show off their form as a demon. So he's basically a demon, but he's not in like a costume. He is like person form. But it's like really crazy. Yeah, the whole TV series is just chaotic to get into, but it's so fun to watch as well and interesting. So basically in season 1, Kristen, after having joined this little group, even though she's not really into demonic activity, she doesn't believe in the paranormal, she has an explanation for everything, being a psychologist. She begins to experience demonic stuff, demonic approaches or demonic activity. I don't know why I didn't say that in the first place.
Did I wake you?
No, I was waiting for you.
Were you waiting for this?
Didn't you take it? Go climb your mountain.
How do you know that?
You know how.
And she's, you know, she actually at first she is visited by this demon called George in her bed, and he makes like sexual advances towards her, the demons that she's experiencing in herself, because she's married, but she's, you know, they spend a lot of time away from each other. They own this skiing company, so they're always away from each other, and she's always at home with her kids. Typical story, right? And when she meets David, it's like this whole new adventure for her in a way, and she gets like, she doesn't become like, well, she does actually, she becomes a little bit attracted to him, obviously. And then he's like teasing her about his sexual advances towards him, the David, who is the priest. She goes to see her own therapist or colleague, who teaches her how to block this demon out, basically, for future purposes. Not that he goes away, but to block it out, basically. They go through things like exploring a girl who passed out, or who died on an operating table, and then suddenly revived after an hour. So they investigate that. Was it an active god, or was there a issue going on in the hospital? You know, this is what I'm talking about. They have different situations. They even had one where they had a case where they were trying to determine the body mass of a person when they pass away, to determine if the soul leaves the body and how much of the soul, basically, what does the body weigh, because apparently the soul weighs something. I don't know, you'd have to see it yourself. But yeah, so they did that episode, and it looked like somebody died and their body weight or soul weight was lost, but suddenly the person came back was like a rebirth or something, I don't know, but this person was a priest as well, so I don't know, maybe it was a miracle. But yeah, stuff like that. Even one series episode, they had a boy that was apparently possessed by a demon, and they tried to help him. At one point, David, the priest, thought that he was getting through to him and asking him to pray to God to help him and make everything better, but it didn't end well, let's just put it that way. I'm not going to get into it, it might trigger some things. Now, the back episode of all these cases, obviously have the cases to get you into it, but the backstory of the characters is completely different, but still involved within the series, if that makes sense. So, Kristen and her mum, Cheryl, are currently living together because obviously with the dad away a lot, she's helping look after the girls. And then, going back to the first case of the killer, there is a psychologist who interrupts the case and makes out basically that Kristen's situation or Kristen's background is not legit or something like that. There's questionable activity. So I mean, it's been a long time, so you might have to look at the episode yourself, but basically she ends up being at issues with this guy called Leland Townsend, the other psychologist, aka Demon, and he basically, all throughout the series, he makes advances towards her that he wants to be with her, and you know, she's attractive to him, and yeah, just doesn't back off at any point. Lo and behold, the whole plot series is that she's going to be the Antichrist mother. Yeah, wait for that at the end. But yeah, so they have this complete issue between them, and she doesn't like him, but he keeps trying to annoy her, get to know her, typical thing. And then the situation is that he ends up dating her mother, and because she's very firm-headed, Kristen decides to disown her mother, tells her to get out of the house because she's dating Leland. So yeah, later on, in a few episodes, or a few episodes later actually, yeah, Leland exposes himself to Cheryl, Kristen's mom, not in the way you're thinking, but basically says that he's a, you know, makes for the demonic, he clouds it, makes it look pretty, and obviously a demon or demonic business or whatever, but he basically says that I'm working for people that you could really get involved with and help out, and you could have a lot obviously back. So she ends up working for Leland's company, which is the devil's company basically, but it's like a stocks business place, which is obviously why not, that's where you get power from, right? Stocks. So she ends up working for him. Meanwhile, in replacement of working for him, she gets to continuously have Botox using other people. You'd have to look at it to see it, but yeah.
My dewy-eyed Disney bride, what is tried? Swapping your blood with formaldehyde. Monsters?
It's kind of how it sounds. But yeah, throughout the series as well, you know, eventually Kristen starts feeling lost and wants to be, you know, hugged again, loved again, and feel like a woman. So obviously the husband's away, and she ends up having a few affairs, which she feels guilty about. Does not tell her husband, but yeah, long story short, she has the affair, she feels guilty, but she doesn't have any more. And yeah, at one point her and David have this little attempted fling, but he stops it obviously because he's trying to be a priest. But yeah, so there's all the, you know, it's a series, there's bound to be a bit of sexual attraction or whatever. And then we've got lovely Ben, who just tries to support both of them, doing all the technical stuff, and he's just so funny as hell. A typical critic, but you know, nevertheless funny. And now one thing about the first case again is that this killer does get off apparently because of the silent whispers of Leland Townsend. When he's the psychologist, he manages to get him off. Obviously it's bad negative stuff, so he's going to help this person get free. Basically, long story short, again, you'd have to look at it yourself. Kristen kills him. He drives her mad. The killer drives her mad. Gets her so annoyed. And she just gets to a point where it's like, I need to kill you because you're doing my head in. You've killed someone. You've hurt someone. I'm gonna punish you. Get the hell away from me. And she kills him. She does all this evidence tampering and she manages to get away with it, even though she tells her friend who is also working for the police, but she gets away with it. Again, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, yeah, but yeah, that just happens. So basically season 1, like I say, just to recap, season 1 is about getting involved with the cases, getting to know what the series is about, getting to know these characters a bit and how they are with their family, their back life, their backstory. Yeah, it's really intense, but it's really cool as well. Now season 2 is very different in the sense that season 2 is more about Leland's visible power trying to take charge basically of the evil in the world. So David becomes a priest finally. Kristen's disturbed by her killing of the LaRue guy from the first case. She gets all these night tremors and stuff like that. Ben's just trying to make it through. And basically Leyland does a lot of tampering on the internet, as in he manages to, using the power of internet and YouTube, things like that, he manages to get people to silently advertise bad things basically, like free music in the background, or you know, encouraging people to watch videos about violence and say, you know, why are we doing this? Why don't we commit violence to improve this violence in a way? He even counsels a young boy who was desperately wanting to feel loved by a woman, but he's just denied. He's like a typical guy who just wants to be nice to girls, but girls don't see him basically. And he basically encourages him to shoot up places basically. As he's pretending, when he's looking in the mirror, this guy, he accidentally shoots himself while pretending to be posing with a gun. Again, was that safety from God? I don't know, but he basically gets pissed off with it. Leyland gets pissed off with it because of all his efforts, and he's like, I've been working so hard to cause drama in the world and now you've shot yourself, you idiot. This is what I mean, he does all these little things, you know. Leyland even at one point comes to David, Ben and Kristen and is like, oh, I'm possessed, I need you to give me an exorcism. He pretends to have an exorcism and then he uses his experience to say that I want to help the church, I want to get involved and help people. So he kind of manipulates the church a bit, and then he's like telling people, he's counselling people in the wrong way, but he gets found out about it anyway and later gets fired from the church, so that's alright. And now season 3, basically Cheryl gets promoted to work as the main manager business woman in Leyland's business, the stock place, and this is all about the build-up of evil trying to really take power of the world. Cheryl starts to really help out the demonic people, basically the business, and Kristen takes matters into her own hands by doing all kinds of stuff to protect her children, because she finds out that Leyland was on a children's computer game and communicating with her children to try and turn against her. So watch your computer games, guys. So yeah, the good thing about Kristen and her daughters is that even though they're a funny bunch and they don't stop talking, they're just funny and hilarious, they do talk to their mum eventually. I mean, there's few episodes where the daughter is apparently some kind of demonic possible being, which she doesn't realise. And she's just like, she starts appearing like a demon with a tail and stuff, but then when she starts accepting who she is, it all goes away. So I'm not too sure where that was going, but yeah. And the other daughter, one of the eldest daughters, starts receiving nunnery lessons because she thinks she might want to be a nun, which brings me on to one of the most other hilarious characters, Sister Andrea, aka she's actually called Andrea Martin, so I don't know if that was meant to be, but She is the funniest nun in this series, and she's the only nun who can actually see demons.
You did this.
Call a doctor. Why call me?
Because I see it every night. You're fucking demon.
Hey, don't swear. You can emphasize just as much without a swear word. Oh, hello. I know you two, don't I?
Yes, Sister Andrea. I'm Leo.
That's right. High school calculus. You were terrible. There's a demon in there between them. It has its hands on their shoulders.
I didn't see anything.
Because you're not as good.
Do you see demons, sister?
Yes.
Is there a demon in this room now?
Yes.
And she is not scared of them at all. Even when they try to freak her out, she really sees them. She kind of goes over the borderline of what nuns are allowed to do technically, but because she does such an amazing job, you know, they just kind of go with it, and eventually they let her join with them to help, not help too much, but help, like, assist. She's just the funniest lady ever as a nun, and she's just she's like a heroine basically. You know, she even, yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but let's just say this, she is funny with the demons, let's just put it that way. So yeah, season 3, they're preparing for the Antichrist. So basically the backstory goes, Kristen apparently put some of her eggs on, or in freeze mode. I don't know, I can't remember the exact word for it, I'll try and look it up. But she puts her eggs on freeze mode, for whatever reason, I'm not sure. Can't remember, go back and look. And then basically they are purchased by Leland Townsend, and one of her eggs gets fertilised and fertilised with Leland's sperm, without her knowing or agreeing to it, and they create a baby boy. So in season 3, this baby boy is given birth by a surrogate, because obviously Kristen's not aware of it, so it went into a surrogate mother, and this baby is born and known as the Antichrist. I think he was meant to be sacrificed, but it didn't happen, thank God. But yeah, at first, because it's not being baptised, it's supposed to be the Antichrist, it looks to Sister Andrea like a demon, but to people it looks like a baby. Cheryl is the main caretaker of this baby with Leyland when they're friends. And then later in the episodes, near towards season 4, they do get the baby christened, because Cheryl decides that she's had enough, she feels guilty for what she's been doing, and she wants to make everything good again. So yeah, and that includes Kristen's husband, Andy. Andy is an on and off character. Like I said, he's doing skiing a lot. He doesn't like Cheryl at all, and at one time he actually gets taken away through a work trap kind of thing. Supposedly they're trying to sell their skiing business, because it's a skiing business they have. He gets taken away on a business trip, also he thought, and he gets captured by Leland and Cheryl, put under some kind of hypnosis or something, and then they basically brainwash him to be their undercover guide through Kristen to see what's going on. He wasn't meant to return to the children, but different things happened, so he ended up being brought back home to the kids. But basically they have this hypnotism on him whereby if he hears this specific song on the phone, he will act accordingly to what he's been brainwashed to do. Eventually he is almost told to kill his wife or his daughter, I think it was his wife, Kristen, but he can't do it, and he manages to gain control and not do it at all. So for that reason, Andy decides that he wants to send himself away because he's scared of what he's going to do to his own kids. He doesn't understand why he is like he is, but because obviously he's not aware of this thing going on, but he decides to go away. Which brings us back to the family. He's a good guy though, and basically, like I said, along with different cases that are confusing you and getting you to believe certain things and then being debunked, and you're thinking about other things, you know, even Ben has his own little situation going on. He, you know, David starts having visions about situations that he tries to control, or to tell people about situations that need to be helped with. Kristen is constantly questioning her situation all the time, sometimes even her sanity, I think. And she's also trying to avoid being Catholic. And then Ben is like trying to continually question things, but also is concerned about his own paranormal experiences. But yeah. And then I mean, there's so much more I could go into, but I'm not going to make this a long one, and I want you to watch it for yourself. But basically season 4 is the big storm stuff, like evil trying to really take over, natural disasters that look like they might be just acts of God, but it's like the demons are taking credit for it. Cheryl gets killed, basically, sadly. Kristen ends up managing to somehow get Leyland arrested, and she gets her baby brought back to her house with her family. But yeah, it's just a crazy series, and every episode is just like, wow, what? The only thing I don't like about it is that it's like it goes for like 20 minutes or so into the episode, and then for some reason it then does the opening captions, and I'm like, what? You're just wasting time here. But yeah, I've never been on my seat more for a series since Revenge. Yeah, with Emily Van Camp. So I was like, wow. So if they are finishing the episodes in the series due to the situation with those screenwriters or whatever, it's really sad because it's a really cool series. But hey ho, if that's the situation, that's the situation. But the characters are so funny and they are so believable. They make you angry, they make you sad, they make you feel funny, they make you irritated. It's like, ah! But yeah, I think you should personally watch it yourself, because it's just so, yeah, 5 out of 5. I even felt like watching it from front to back all the way up again, just to remind myself of the funniness of it all. But yeah, it's interesting, and it looks into cases. Like I said, it gets you to really think about it yourself, like, oh my god, this is really happening, and okay, they didn't debunk that, but is that really the situation? You know, things like that. It gets you to really question everything. So I really encourage you guys to watch it, because it's, yeah, like I said, it's really cool. But yeah, until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you do watch it, and if you do, comment down below what you think or your favourite episode. I think my favourite episode so far is episode, is it 4 of series 4? Because that's the storm and situational stuff. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one. But yeah, until next time, have fun. If you like the video, do subscribe as always and give it a thumbs up, because it's a really cool series that I want to introduce you to if you haven't already been made aware of it. So yeah, until next time, have a good day, good night, and God bless. Bye.